What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We have Alex and we have Glenn. No, this is not the preview from last week. You're not seeing Deja Vu. We've had to just get this together as soon as we could. But yes, if you again from the title you can see, get your comments in. Let me know what you think of this whole situation. We want to come fight our corner a little bit. We want to fight Leicester City's corner. We want to say what we need to say at first. But Glenn, I know we haven't talked since the preview actually. So just in your opinions now, Glenn. What is your whole situation about this weird bit?
Well, I mean, just going back to the fact of before the game, I saw the rumor as it was at the time, and I was like, yeah, don't fret, it's a rumor, it's probably all blown out of proportion, all this. Then I saw Pipes had put a vlog out at the ground and said that the players weren't there, and then the team news was dropped. And an hour before kickoff, and then when it was more important was the fact of seeing the bench and the fact that Perez and Maddison wasn't on the bench, and I was like, oh, here we go, yeah, okay. So there's obviously a lot of truth in those rumours. Of course, by the time the first goal went in, we were in full Twitter meltdown by then. I mean, I've got to admit, I was furious during the game with how badly we were playing, linking the two together. I was putting the blame on the incident. And all of those involved, and then later on, I saw the whole thing about Maddison playing golf, maybe, and things like that. But what I wanted to try and do is like I don't want to. I'm not going to look at any of this and be trying to just back up the players completely or anything like that. But I want to play a bit of devil's advocate with some of this because some of the stuff that we saw about Maddison and playing golf and that. There was a whole bunch of stuff put out there, which you never know when things were taken, pictures were taken, snapshots of websites and all this sort of thing. But if you think about the fact that they were told not to go to the game, so in which case then he was probably very annoyed with himself, very frustrated, as of course we all were. And one of the ways that he may have wanted to have got rid of all of that was go out and smash some golf clubs for a little bit. Some of the stuff I read was the fact that he was away from the course before the game even started, and others I've seen where he wasn't. But perhaps he wanted to get rid of that frustration himself. Some might go out for a run, go down the gym, whatever. Perhaps he thought that smashing a few golf balls was going to help. So I want to play a bit of devil's advocate with that. I was very disappointed to hear that maybe Wes Morgan's involved and the involvement with that. That especially on the the young players and things like that. That's I've got to admit is massive for me. And not long after being warned after what happened with LCFC women as well. So totally get the fact of everybody's disappointment and annoyance and things like that. And then of course it was then the fact of how it was handled by the club afterwards. But that was my initial side of it, was looking at it that way. I was really wanting to wait until everything came out officially because everything gets blown out of proportion a lot, but it ain't looking good.
And that's one of the reasons why we're making this video. There's lots of different things that are happening on Twitter. People have already written it in the comments, and I've just seen Ethan, you've put that. And I don't want to. There's a lot of stuff that isn't confirmed. We've got some sources within the club that have told us a certain number of things, and this is what I want to do. I want to concentrate only on the facts that we know and also the sources that we have. And from that, we're going to try and make a picture. There is things about Maddison playing golf that hasn't been confirmed or denied. There's a lot of, and it could have been taken in the past. We don't know that for sure. All we know is the stuff that we have and the facts. So we'll get into it again. If you want, The Athletic, Rob Tanner wrote a brilliant article today and yesterday as well. Make sure you go check them out for the people that are involved. So the 5 people that are already involved, James Maddison being one of them, Ayoze Perez, Harvey Barnes, Wes Morgan, and Hamza Choudury being the 5 players that were involved. That's of what we know now. Of them, obviously, Hamza Choudury, Maddison and Perez are all available, so they were dropped straight away. So from what we heard as well, the players this morning had a meeting with Susan Whelan. And those of you who know Susan Whelan, she doesn't mess about. I mean, we were just saying off camera, she was the woman that steadied the ship when Vichai died. And that was something incredible what she did and how she organized and the way she went about it. So apparently, yes, Susan Whelan had a meeting with them today, and it is disappointing. Wes Morgan got a lot of the of the brunt because he's the leader, he's the captain, he's one of the players, in my opinion, that should be standing up and going, right, if I should be setting the example, and he didn't for this. This may lead to longer consequence in the future. We're not too sure. James Maddison was another player that got a lot of the stick as well because of the way that Brendan Rodgers over the past year has backed James Maddison up all the time, has said time and time again, he's not arrogant. This is the way he does it. He's well spoken. He's this, and it feels like he's gone and betrayed him. Anyway, so that's what we've got so far. Alex, I just want to move it on to, obviously I've spoken to a few people. And I've seen a few people that have reached out to me and people on from Beyond the 90 that have gone, what is true, and also how have we looked? And from what we can see from the outside, people think we're bottle jobs. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm making this video, to say that it isn't the case. But what has your experience been just from seeing stuff on Twitter, other fans' perspectives? I know you've got a bigger following than myself, and you have a lot more scope than I do.
It's been kind of a 50-50, like hit or miss when you come to when I see the reactions, what I have been seeing online. You have the one side that are extremely angry and ready to ship everybody out of Leicester. Let's just get them out of this team. We don't want them anymore. And then you get the other side of this being like, they're only human. We've made mistakes. They make mistakes. Let's forgive them. Let their play dictate, and let their play be the ultimate forgiveness in a sense. So it's been very 50-50 from what I've seen, which has been very interesting because I feel like these are the type of situations where we really do see a clash in the fan base. And this, like I said, again, is very easily, you can easily see that that's happening today. From my point of view, yesterday I was quite frustrated, and I know, when we spoke, Neil, yesterday, I was quite frustrated with the whole situation. But as I move forward, the way I look at it is that the club has dealt with it. The club has dealt with it internally. Let their play dictate what they do next. You know what? Yeah. And when we're going to be discussing it later on this week when we do the preview for Southampton. But, this is where they really need to focus in when they go play Southampton at Wembley. And then they got to pick it up the next week when they play West Brom, to continue on with the top four. But when you bring up the whole aspect of bottle jobs and all that, I've said it before time and time again, this team is different from when they've been even last season. And I firmly believe that we're not going to see anything happen like we did of late. And I think, as these players are elite athletes and they're professional. And from sometimes here and there, they will make mistakes. And, does it affect not only the players and the club and the fan base? Absolutely. But hopefully this is a really good learning experience and a good teaching moment, not only for them, but what they can instill on others and, moving forward, especially all the younger fans that look up to them.
Yes, I'm hoping the same thing as well. Especially with the likes, and people have mentioned already, there's a difference between Wes Morgan. There's a difference between James Maddison and some people for Wes Morgan. I mean, Wes Morgan. I mean, exactly. He's the player that has been shouted at. That has been Rodgers has said he works fantastically off the pitch. He is the example. He is the leading light. And bearing in mind, I mean, he was the person that lifted the trophy first alongside Ranieri. And this is the man that is going to tarnish his legacy a little bit. And again, I just want to reiterate, we're not doing this to bash the players. It's just to put the message out there that A, we're not bottlers. B, there's an easy agenda to push that Leicester aren't doing well, even though we've only lost 2 games. And B, when we did this video last time, Alex, we didn't have the full knowledge of what happened. At the time, I even admitted, this is all very new to me. I'm not sure what to make of it. Now we've had time to sit on it. We've talked before. We've seen some stuff on Twitter as well. So we just want to focus on what exactly we know. But over to you, Glenn. The same thing. And what has your perspective been? Because it's easy to say what has happened, but at the same time, the way that we've been perceived, again, it's in our hands, and it is our fault at the end of the day as fans. We as a responsibility as the club, we will be looked at as this was our responsibility. And this isn't the first time. I mean, we've had the whole tie thing in 2015 with which led to Pearson's sacking. We've had a few other things that have happened this isn't the first time. The club do know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the way that it has been handled so far, I think has been really good. You got to be careful. Of course, you stick anything on social media, and some of the other media outlets pick up on it. They'll take your
100%.
tweet and they'll stick it onto their website, and then they can spin it any way that they want. And not all, like you say, with the fact of the Athletic putting the things out that they've done over the last couple of days have been really good. But I have liked the way that Rodgers has dealt with this. He knew that a fine wouldn't mean anything to the players, but stopping them playing was going to hurt them a lot more. He was already asked about the fact of, wouldn't it have been easier if you just take the easy route and let them play, and he came back with, he says, yeah, you can do if you're soft, and that's
really well put.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he said the fact about you have to act like a winner, and that winning. And that the winning mentality is a certain level of behaviour, and being a mindset that allows you to prepare every day for every game. And I just love the way that he put that across. And I think you're right. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's disappointing, and all of that. But I think for the sake of the team and the outcome of our season, I think we need to draw a line under it too. Rodgers has said it 3-4 times, different interviews, and he said about the fact of drawing a line under it. And I agree. Everybody's had their rant, and I think we should probably try and draw a line under it as well. Get together and get out there for Sunday and be as one.
Exactly. Hater puts it brilliantly. If you want to be, and that's, I think, what he said. You must act like a winner. And the one of my favorite quotes of what you said as well, Glenn, was, if you want to, you can do. We can let them off with a fine. If we want to be soft, we want to be tough, and we want to instill that mentality, Alex. And again, the reason why we're making this video is for that exact reason, not to hound the players and go at them, but to go, right, we'll make this video, we'll say what we need to say, and we'll forget it. We'll move on to Wednesday, where we'll do the preview with a Southampton fan, and then the preview, and it will just we will try not to mention it anymore from here on out. However, because we've not really had the perspective, and this is the disadvantage with going live, we didn't have the information at the time, and I was like, did you see this, Alex? He goes, I saw a little bit, and because I'm not on Twitter as much, this is what happened. So yes, just want to come back to that. And obviously one of the things that Glenn mentioned as well, that Brendan Rodgers has told all them 5 people, you need to act up, and you need to go out there and prove quote unquote prove yourselves as winners on and off the pitch. And I think that's the perfect way to say it as well.
Yeah, and you know what? The way that the club has handled this is absolutely professional. And that's one way that I really haven't appreciated, the way that they've dealt with this situation. And, it could have been easily swept under the rug. Like, swept under the rug, never spoken about. Nobody would never have known. That's the end of it. And, one of the big things, and, I was discussing this with a lot of people, and it was more on the fact that, this was a huge game. It wasn't like we were playing, a team in relegation. It was a team right behind us in the table, in the top 4. You could have easily seen Rodgers be like, you know what? No, we need Maddison. We need Perez. We're going to let them play. But, he really chose, I would say, a perfect time to really instill the fact that, you need to learn this lesson. And it's a hard lesson, and you're going to see the repercussions. Win or lose, you're going to see the repercussion that you're going to have on all your teammates. And I think that was a good lesson. Now, and that's one thing that I've really, really appreciated. And, just over the course of the last 24 hours or so, I think a lot more fans are realizing that it's, that they, you can't be judge, jury, and executioner. And I think with all these rumors going about, that's the hardest thing, because like Glenn said, you could literally pick up anything. I could go on Twitter, write something down, and be like, and claim it as fact. Mm-hmm. And, people can soak that up and think that it's real, but I just thought of it on the spot. So you really need to be careful as to what you read. And, the only way that I really believe sources is that if it comes from like a true source that knows the in-depth information. I think that's where you really need to be careful with this. But I do need to applaud Rodgers, because Rodgers really handled this situation professionally.
Yes, and if you want also another, I'd recommend another thing similar to this. I'd recommend listening to the post-match commentary from the BBC Radio Leicester game. They go into a lot more detail as well, a lot more of the situations they're aware of as well. But yes, the fact they did a fantastic job with that news coming live as it did, and the severity of what happened in terms of it being a house party and so on and so forth. But yes, again, trying to instill that winning mentality, I think is fantastic. But just back to you, Glenn. Obviously, we've got two English players that were both got caps, or one got called up in Maddison. We knew that there was going to be 4 players find that England position. We'll just go on Maddison first, with the likes of Phil Foden playing amazing this season, Mason Mount, who's doing it in the Champions League this season. You've got Jack Grealish, who's tearing it up in the Premier League. And then you've got James Maddison, 4 players vying for one position. And I think there's a saying goes like, don't let the manager do anything to make him drop you. This is the case, isn't it? A little bit. I think if the trust in the manager, obviously managers talk. Southgate, has been to so many Leicester games of recent, and Maddison was one of the players he was looking at. And this, I think, in my opinion, has blown his chance to play for England.
I mean, maybe, especially I think if you look at it as being his the second issue really with the casino one that was previous as well. I mean, all the others that you mentioned there, Grealish, Foden, and Mount, etc. They've all had their own little things that they've done wrong as well, and then it depends on the manager. I think that on the Leicester point of view, I think Rodgers is the type that's going to be like, okay, well that's it, let's move on and do it for the team. Whereas, it all depends on the fact of what's going to happen with the England setup and how they look at it as well. I just don't think Maddison is really in favour with the England setup, and don't get me. The other players, like you say, there's those that are all vying for the same position, and the downfall for the fact of Maddison at the minute is maybe it's his second strike per se, and if he's already out of favour a little bit anyway, then this is just going to knock him further down that pecking order, unfortunately. I think, especially with the fact that he's more high profile than Barnes. So he's probably going to get it in the neck a little bit more. And maybe Barnes will be able to come out of this a little bit better, maybe further down the line. By the time he gets back from his injury, this may have blown over a little bit more and such like. And, I think, I don't think Maddison is going to have any chance of, Euros now, that's for sure. And then it's just a matter of how he then takes that mentally to move on forward for the next set.
Yes, and especially since Brendan Rodgers has backed Maddison publicly, I think I was saying earlier, has backed him publicly as well.
This time of the season, especially with the Euros coming around the corner, you want to give the manager of the England squad every reason to take you. You give him one chance and one reason to not take you. That's going to be highlighted, underlined, starred, you name it. And as Glenn said before, he was warned about the casino incident. So this is like a second strike. So that's going to be tough for Maddison, and I'm with Glenn on that. I don't think he's going to be getting into the Euros squad this season. Now on Barnes, that one's difficult. That's a tough call. It could be 50-50. And really that's all I can really say on Barnes, because, this is his first strike, so to speak. And, there have been players on the England squad that have had, warnings as well. So, this could be looked at, in one way rather than another. And, I think the Maddison's, as it being his second strike, it will come down a little bit harder on him.
Yes, and I think that's part of the issue as well. Obviously, them two vying for them England positions again. Hamza Choudury, another player that wanted to come into the squad and prove himself. And I've been very... I think you two know I'm a big fan of his, and I know Alex is smiling, but it's because I think he could be amazing. He came in and did some amazing things, but it's disappointed from him, especially since he wanted to go out on loan, but then he wanted to knuckle down and get better, and this has just not helped his case at all. So the less, I think the less, well, I could hand it up to you guys, but the less, it's pretty much the same thing over and over again. But we've done with the negativity now, right? We'll get onto it. What do we do from here, Glenn? What do you think the best thing to do from here? The club have handled it, how they've handled it. Brendan Rodgers has come out and said they've missed the match. They've had the meeting today. Pretty much, he's said, the ball's in your court. Go and do what you need to do. And I think, where would you think we need to go from here?
I think this is where Brendan will come into his fore, and and I think Susan Whelan would probably be doing exactly the same thing today. And it will be a shot across the bow, but it's like, right, well, now let's move on and let's do something here. Let's take it as a learning point and then get on with it. So certain media outlets are loving this. They just don't want us to be top four, and we need to use this to our advantage now. Try and flip it around and use it for some good. Have like a siege mentality, and us against the world type, and let's show them a top four in an FA Cup final. Why not? Let's turn this around and let's get together. I think that we were probably rattled with the news. I mean, saying that, of course, the team had probably already known for a little while, because I think it was last weekend, wasn't it, when the incident happened? So it all depends on, but it still would have made a difference with the build up to the weekend's game, that's for sure. And now it's about the fact of, well, come on, let's just get together now as a group, and hopefully they'll just rally together and, like I say, have that siege mentality and say, no, let's show them we're not bottlers, and we can use this to our advantage, siege mentality, and crack on top four FA Cup final.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hopeful. Alex, anything else? Because again, I think Glenn's again did a very good, fantastic job of explaining it. But that's how we all feel, and we need to get together, wrap our arms around this team, and go, come on, let's get behind you, regardless of what happens to the end of the season. Now we've had our bit of, we've said what we need to say, we've done what we need to do. Now you need to go out and prove it. But at the same time, once you do that, we'll be right behind you. We're going to push you all the way to the finish line and prove people wrong that think that we're going to fail.
You know what? The way I look at it is, I'm pretty sure that they've all been spoken to, and they've, said the ball's in your court. Now need to show not only the club, but the fan base that you are for this club, and, want to play for this club. Let your actions and your play on the field dictate, your dedication for the club. And I think that is very important. And that is the one thing that I think is really going to come out of this, is that, when we see Perez and, Maddison come back into the squad, because they are the two healthy ones, because I feel like, Choudury has really pushed himself out of the lineup, in my opinion. I think their play will dictate how they feel after this incident. If they don't show any heart, that could be one side. But if they come in, 120%, giving it their all the entire game, then that might say something else. And I think that's huge. And as Glenn pointed out, let this be a lesson, and let's move forward and really, give it our all for an FA Cup, as well as a top four finish. And let's dictate that to the rest of the, Premier League, because as Glenn said, media outlets, other club fan bases are soaking this up. And I 100%. Think at the end of the day, you need to let their play, the players' play, really dictate this storyline in the end. And that's huge.
And I think so too. And I think this is where you're going to see the likes of Casper Schmeichel, obviously not Wes Morgan in this case, but Jamie Vardy can go, right, there's a team of, and Tillemans as well now as becoming part of that management team, I think, and becoming that team and just going, right, we're going to lead, and we're going to lead from the front. We're going to stand by the manager, and we're going to run through brick walls, and we're going to try and finish as high as possible. Regardless of what happens now, we're going to try and do what we need to do. And that's what's going to happen. I think that's all we can do in this situation, is get behind the team. It's not great at the moment. It's not what we wanted. It obviously had an effect on the West Ham game. I see some people put in the comments about the Southampton game. We'll come on to that in another video later down the line. So make sure you're tuned and subscribed and likes and all that good stuff for that. But I think apart from that, we just have to get behind the team. And I don't know if there's anything else we would like to touch on, Glenn, because That's pretty much all I had, because I didn't want to make it a too long one. I didn't want to make it too down and disappointing. However, we're still in such as me and Alex said last time, we're still in really good position to finish in top 4, aren't we? Muted, mate. Muted.
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, it's that I'm not trying to back what the players have done here, but you're right. I think it's a matter of trying to move it forward now, turn it into that something better, and learn from it and move on. And I think we can. I think that with the what's going on today with the club with Suzanne Whelan, there might even be like a clear the air session. And like I said, with the likes of Schmeichel and that, yeah, because obviously Wes Morgan can't really be standing up and saying much, but Schmeichel's certainly got the mouth in the dressing room as such, and can bring everybody together then. And I think that we've got a team that can be pulled together and can get over this. And with Brendan as well, it's somebody who's at the helm there to lead us forward now. I really think we can get over this, and it's just then moving on and just going for it.
And that's what we need to do. Again, David puts a great comment in. So yeah, good comments. Yeah, thank you for your comments as well. I'm very angry, but I see again there needs to be a balance, and that's what we came here to do. We're not coming here to slam the players, slam the owners. There's things that have happened across the board. These things happen within business, and these things happen within society where these upsets happen. It's how you recover from that. And that's why I'm not trying to. It'll be so easy. And I was angry when I was listening to the post match last night of what exactly happened. I was like, you're joking me. And the fact that we're known as bottlers, even this season, even we lost to Man City, people saying bottlers, and you're like, really? This has just got this is the only second time we've lost all season, 2 times in a row. That's fantastic, to be honest. However, in this case, Alex, I'll leave you with the final words because, actually, I'll get something as well. Somebody put, why couldn't I get a photo of Wes Morgan? The reason why, I was up till midnight. I created this thumbnail because I'm still terrible. And Wes Morgan's a biggie chappy, and he couldn't fit in. And I couldn't find that. It took me about 3 or 4 iterations to get this one. So that's the reason why for that one. Anyway, Alex, any final thoughts to this one apart from let's get behind the two to get the tide to? And Chrissy, thank you for your comments as well. And I'll get some good ones up before we finish.
Final thoughts. You can be angry, you can be upset, and you can be disappointed. Those are all feelings you can totally have. You know, I've had them, Glenn's had them, Neil's had them, we've all had them. At the end of the day, you got to support your club. And that's the final thing you got to think of. You know, through thick and thin, you know, we're all Leicester City blue. So let's be here for next weekend when we face off against Southampton.
Exactly. And make sure you pay attention to the channel. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're 4 away from 400 subscribers. So if you could be part of that we really, really appreciate it. So make sure, like that button, subscribe, turn notifications on. So every time we go live, you'll have a notification. You could be part of these lovely comments as they've been so far. Again, people have been really good in the comments. People have said all sorts of stuff. So we really, really appreciate everybody that's been mentioning in the comments down below. Make sure to pay attention on Wednesday. We've got a preview with a Southampton fan. Wednesday, we've got the show with hopefully a couple of special guests as well. Look forward to that. And then obviously Friday will be Sunday will be the game for us, but also for the Leicester City women. So make sure you're subscribed for that one. For some reason, it's always the case where we produce no videos, 14 videos, and then no videos again. That's the Leicester City way. That's sort of the way we're doing our stuff. And again, there's some very special interviews coming out on Beyond the 90 on behalf of the women. So you're going to you're not going to want to miss them because that's going to be a great one. Anyway, thank you once again, Glenn, for joining. Alex, it's a pleasure as usual. And we'll see everybody on Wednesday for the next video. So we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.